What's up, you guys? Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a brand new series of the channel called Wolf Tales. The name was, there it is, Wolf Tales. I found this up online. This is, again, an adult-oriented game, but it's a graphic novel-based thing as well. And since we finished up with Changing Tale at the moment, until I can find another updated version, or I can get a job and get money to pay Little Napoleon so I can get the Patreon build. So, we just moved along. This is completed, so this is entire playthrough, hopefully. I don't know how much censoring I have to do, so we'll see how it goes when I get into the game. So here we go. Oh, goody, I can enter a name. Choose your gender and your name. Oh. I can put my whole name. Let's call me Blitz. Oh, I had to enter. I did enter. Oh, oh, hello. Brrr. I stared at the road before me, which is now barely visible thanks to the flurry of snow. The storm had arrived violently when I was out, and before I knew it, I had gotten stuck in the middle of it. Almost home. My breath is visible in front of me as I creep forward to on the snowed-over road. Even though my heater is on full blast, it isn't enough to ward off the freezing cold. I shudder to think how cold I'd be without it. The sooner I get home, the better. I'd hate to get stranded out in the air like this. Slowing my truck to a stop in front of the cabin, I turn the key in the ignition and shut it off. The heater immediately stopped blowing. I could already feel the chill hit me. Time to brace myself for the freezing winds raging between me and the cabin. Here goes. Cold. I rush inside quickly as I can, shivering from head to toe despite my thick clothing. The moment I slam the door shut behind me, the sound of the wind howling outside quietens, and the chattering of my teeth fills the room. Fucking cold out there. It's warmer in here, but not to the point where I can whimsically toss aside my extra layers and flop down on the couch. If I suddenly remove all my extra layers right at this instant, I'd probably pass out from the change in temperature. Whose idea was it to start living out here anyway? As the sole occupant of this cabin, I expect no response to my rhetorical question. For better or worse, I decide for myself that I would live in these snowy mountains all on my own. Alright, tea, bite to eat, and I'm turning in for the night. In the middle of a snowstorm like this, it's important to keep yourself nourished and warm, which is completely true. After reminding myself to adhere to a few basic survival tips, I fill the kettle with water and turn it on. Man, am I glad I have electricity here. Without ready access to hot water, there's no way I'd survive out here. I should have enough food to last until summer too, by which point I'll be able to go into town without freezing to death. Life out here might just work out after all. I mean, it's not uncommon for men to decide to make a go for it on their own, isolated from society at large. I'd found it a relaxing, easy adjustment to begin living out here. The audio just quit for a second. Though in my circumstances, this cabin was my only option at the time. The moment I think so, my body begins to shiver once more. I feel cold wind brush up against my cheek, threatening to give me frostbite if I dare take off any layer of clothing. That's weird. It shouldn't be this cold in here. I know there's a snowstorm out there, but this cabin is pretty well insulated. It shouldn't be this cold unless the door is open. Curious about the source, and also desperate to stop the cold, I walk through the cabin trying to figure out where it's coming from. After checking all the windows, I wind up near the back entrance of the cabin. And surely enough, as soon as I spot the back door, I have my answer. Aha! Gotcha! I hurriedly clear away the snow from the base of the door, which seems to have stopped the door from opening and closing any further. I then close the door and lock it, and move a few things in front of the door to prevent it from opening, even though the lock were. If the lock were to break, Jesus, that ought to do it. But how did the door get open in the first place? I could see myself forgetting to lock it, since I'm all alone out here anyway, but there's no way I'd forget to close it. Is the latch broken? Forget it. Think about it later. After I've had something warm to drink. I turn away from the door and begin to walk toward the kitchen. No sooner that I begun to move my foot, however, than I realize that the floor is soaking wet. Some snow must have blown in and melted. Guess I'd better clean this. Up. My eyes widen as I realize something important. There isn't just one puddle of water. There are several. Following a clear, non-linear path, the puddles show me the path someone or something has taken. Damn, an intruder. Maybe a wild animal? Instinctively, I grab my axe. And I keep for wood off the back wall. Sorry, buddy. I understand that you want to take refuge from the cold, but a guy's got to protect himself. Axe in hand, I head deeper into the storeroom, prepared to defend myself against the potential dangerous person or animal that was wandered into my home. Moving even further inside, I cautiously move around the table and... Oh, aren't you frickin' adorable? Aww. Etty! Freeze! What the? My arms lose all strength. I stare at a peculiar sight in front of me. On the floor of my storeroom is a girl. She's shivering, wet, and her breath is ragged. Red-faced, yet blue in the fingertips, the poor girl looks like she's about to freeze to death at any moment. And wet, and yet, what attracts my attention is the tail. That tail and those ears? It couldn't be. Without thinking, I drop my axe to the floor and reach out toward the girl's ears. I gently tug on her ears, trying to pull them off, or otherwise expose their stitching. However, no matter how hard I pull, there's no sign of being a practical joke. As far as I can tell, these wolf-like ears are real. Impossible. She really is a half-human? That can't be, right? I mean, absolutely certain that this place wasn't intruded on the domain of any half-humans. Did I make a mistake? Or is she just... Before I can mull over the girl's presence any further, her whimper brings me back to reality. Right! Whatever the reason for her presence here, it doesn't change the fact that she's about to freeze to death in my cabin. I'll worry about the details later. For now, I have to make sure she doesn't die. I grab a towel from one of the shelves in the storeroom and immediately begin to dry the young girl off. The moment I make contact with her skin, I realize just how close to death the girl really is. Her body is so cold that I can feel it through the towel. Her skin is deathly pale and she can't stop shivering. Desperately, I rub the girl's body, trying to both dry her off and warm her up. However, no matter how much her body moves about, she does not stir. The girl is breathing, but unconscious. Even if I tried to, I don't think I'd be able to wake her up. Shit, this isn't working. I'm going to have to step things up a notch. Up. Couch, fire! 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 Firewood! Firewood! Oh, don't worry, little girl. Don't worry, wolf girl. I've got your back. Oh. I put it out, don't worry. Shit, that joke kind of ran its course. I'm making a shit ton of noise. Okay, that was fun. That was really stupid. Don't ask why I have lighters. Don't ask, don't tell. Smells like lighter fluid. Many hours pass by and the unconscious girl continues to rest. Over time, her breathing gradually becomes less ragged and her color returns to her skin. The incessant shivering comes to an end, and her lips stop quivering, and a faint yet peaceful smile appears on her face. While it's still too soon to rest easy, it seems like the girl is going to be just fine. Whew. I was worried for a while there, but it looks like things have finally calmed down. I guess some dry clothes and a long sleep in a warm cabin were all she needed. Feeling good about myself for having been able to help out, I watch the girl sleep for a while as I contemplate what to do next. The snowstorm has died down now, so I should probably have this girl leave as soon as she wakes up. Though I suppose I could at least feed her first. She must be famished after sleeping for so long, and almost freezing to death. It would be heartless for me just to not at least... While I'm in the middle of thinking out loud, the wolf girl finally begins to move. What starts out as a faint groan quickly turns into a visible movement on her part. The girl's eyelids twitch, and I can see her lips trembling. In a matter of seconds, she will no doubt open her eyes. Fuck. That was quite a... Huh? Oh, she's fucking even more adorable! Wow, she's actually, dare I say, hot. The girl's eyes open wide as she starts to gain her bearings. Her eyes dart around the room, trying to fill the blanks of her memory. Oh, yes, I remember now. I got caught up in the snowstorm, didn't I? I finally found shelter, but I thought my mind was just playing tricks on me as my body started to shut down. Am I really alive? Yeah, you are. At least, as far as I can tell. The girl jumps in Fred as she finally notices my presence. This is... The girl tries to speak but fails to formulate a proper sentence. With that being the case, I decide to explain the situation to her, giving her time to calm down. I found you in my storeroom, shivering and unconscious on the floor. I dried you off and brought you inside, but it was hard to tell if you were going to survive or not. Your fingertips had already started to turn blue by the time I found you. Your breathing was a complete mess. Listening to my calm explanation, the girl looks down at herself. She pinches her clothing, seemingly surprised at how clean and dry they are. My clothes? Did you? I avert my gaze. Yeah, I did. Before you say anything, it's not like I was trying to peek, okay? Your clothes were wet, and you were at risk of freezing to death. I couldn't just leave you like that. Just like me, the girl blushes and looks away. Wolf girl or not, she must surely be embarrassed to have had her body seen by a stranger, a human male, no less. Rather than adopt an expression of anger, however. Thank you. Huh? The girl forces herself to look at me once more. With eyes filled with sincerity, she continues to speak. I am a trespasser. I broke into your cabin, intruding in your home, and dared to use your shelter as my own. Yet, despite all of that, you went to such lengths for me. Oh, yeah. I guess you could look at it that way. It really isn't that big of a deal, though. You were caught up in the middle of a snowstorm. If I were in your situation, I would have broken in, too. Besides, all I did was dry you off and clean your clothes. It's really nothing major. It is something major. If you hadn't taken pity on me, I would have... Before the girl can finish speaking, she interrupts me by the sound of a kettle whistling. Ah! Sounds like breakfast is ready. Excuse me for a moment. I'm not going to walk off camera. I was originally going to do that, but it required me getting up and moving out. I move away from the girl and head toward the kitchen. Once I set foot in front of the kettle, I grab an additional ceramic bowl from my guest, since she is now woken up. Breakfast? You mean to say it is now morning? There it goes. That's right. You were asleep for a solid 12 hours. After emptying 2 packets of instant noodles one into each bowl, I pour in a little bit of the boiling water. I then place a fork in each bowl and bring them back into the living room, careful not to let water spill over the sides. Alright, here you go. Make sure to give it a good few minutes to cook before you eat it. As I set a bowl down on the table in front of the girl, she stares at it quizzically. Eat this? What is this? Some kind of soup? Kind of. They're instant noodles. All you need to do is put noodles in a bowl, add hot water, and then wait for a couple minutes. They're quick, easy, warm, and quite tasty. I begin to stir my noodles around with the fork as I speak. Watching me carefully, the girl hesitantly picks up her fork, stares at it for a moment, and then mimics my actions. Yeah, that's good. Just like that. You gotta stir them up a little bit, then the flavoring is distributed evenly. The flavoring? It adds additional flavor to the otherwise bland noodles. Have you ever eaten instant noodles before? The girl shakes her head. I'm familiar with any aspects of human culture, including some which our respective races do not share. Even so, instant food is an entirely new concept to me. Is that right? I stare at the girl in impartial surprise as she responds with an unexpected eloquence. Far from my mental image of half-humans being savages, this girl seems to be more human than wolf. Oh my goodness, I just realized something. I've been preying on your kindness, yet I haven't even given you my name or asked for yours. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It doesn't really matter, though. It's not like you'll be staying. I am Mirari. My pack resides on the other side of this mountain. I was away from the pack when the snowstorm hit, and I wound up being unable to return to them. Thank you again for taking care of me. Speaking almost too quickly for me to understand her, Mirari introduces herself in a panic. She takes a few quick breaths immediately afterward, and finally begins to calm down once again. Pleased to meet you, Mirari. My name is Bliss. I've been living in the cabin by myself for... Blitz? Yes. Blitz. Okay, that ought to do it. Do what exactly? Oh, my apologies. I didn't mean to interrupt. Humans' names all sound so strange to me. If I don't repeat them out loud, they're too difficult to remember. Oh, but I see. My name was fairly unique, so whatever. Anyway, Mirari. Yes, Blitz? I think it's ready now. Huh? I glanced down at her food. The noodles have begun to expand after absorbing some of the water, and the steam rises from the bowl and has lessened considerably. If we're going to eat our fill, now is the time. Oh, yes, of course. Mary picks up her fork and takes another look at the bowl. She raises her fork out of the bowl and licks the water off of it, as though she was trying to eat soup with a fork. After watching Murray do this a couple times, I interrupt her. You can drink the water last, after you've eaten all the noodles. Just watch me and I'll do what I do. Under Murray's watchful gaze, I pick up my fork. After pushing into the clump of noodles and turning the fork a few times, I raise my fork to my mouth and take a bite. Take a big mouthful and happily begin to chew the warm, filling noodles. Oh, I see. The food is submerged and the water is too hot to touch, so you have used a tool to bring the food to your mouth. Pretty much. Now, why don't you give it a try? Me? Of course, that's why you were watching me, remember? Don't worry, it's dead. It's dead simple. Just get some noodles on the end of the fork and bring it to your mouth. Okay, I'll give it a try. Murari nervously picks up her fork once more. Mimicking my actions to the best of her ability, Murari clumsily scoops up a large number of noodles. She then raises the utensil, at which point most of the noodles slip off her fork and fall back into the bowl beneath. Luckily for Murari, however, a couple of noodles manage to hang on to the utensil, and after quickly examining the foreign food one more time, Murari hesitantly places them in her mouth. Is it good? This is delicious. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, Beerus, calm down. How can something so tasty be cooked in such a short period of time? Wow, holy hell. She seriously doesn't know how to use a fork. You're just hungry. You're exaggerating. I like instant noodles as much as the next person, but at this point, I'm pretty sure you're hungry enough that even stale bread would taste good. Anything tastes good when you're hungry, you know? The moment I finish speaking, a faint grumble emits from Murari's stomach. Her face tinged red as she looks down, silently regretting the unfortunate timing of her body's honesty. Despite her embarrassment, Murari picks up the fork once more and continues to eat. See what I'm talking about? Anyway, it's perfectly natural to become ravenous out here. Your body burns a lot of calories warming itself up when you're out in the cold. After surviving that snowstorm and sleeping for so long, I'd be surprised if you weren't hungry. Just as Murari is about to bring her fork to her mouth once more, she suddenly stops. The snowstorm. I hope she's all right. She? No, it's nothing. I was just talking to myself, that's all. Clearly hoping to avoid questioning, Murari quickly brings the fork to her mouth and takes another bite. Why's she gotta hold her straps? Why do I have to have her drawn holding her straps? That just kind of like makes you want to look at her boobs because her hands are right there. The moment she does, her lips curl up at the sides and a joyful smile appears on her face. Oh, she's so cute. After a few tries, Murari has gotten the hang of eating with a fork. Fueled by hunger, she devours most of the noodles in no time at all, leaving little more than water behind. If I'm not careful, she might finish her own portion first and then start on mine. Once the two of us have finished eating, I grab our bowls and then take them into the kitchen. Are you going to wash those? That's the plan. Unless you'd like to give them both one more lick before I do. Don't remind me of my shameful behavior. Hunger truly does turn me into a different person. It's fine. I'm not exactly the type of guy that you'd expect to find dining in a 5-star restaurant myself, you know. Be that as it may, I was not going to ask if I could lick the bowls. Rather than that, I was just thinking that maybe if you'd like, I could clean them for you. You want to clean the dishes? Mary nods vigorously. Yes, let me clean. I'm dressed like a maid. Let me clean. It's the least I can do after you treated me with such scrumptious meal. Okay then. Look, I'm not going to turn down an offer for help, but do you even know how to clean dishes? Of course I do. Why wouldn't I know something that simple? Mary tilts her head and gazes at me with an expression of apparent confusion on her face. Forks are a new tool to you, but you know how to wash dishes. Fine. If you say you can do it, be my guest. Yes, thank you. Well, I will. Thank you, Blitz. Ferrari happily takes my place in front of the sink, which is currently filled with dishes. Displaying unexpected knowledge of human appliances, she carefully turns the handle next to the tap, causing water to flood the sink. She then twists it back and the other way in order to stop the flow of water, and finally takes one of the bowls in hand. That's rather surprising. For someone who seemed so skittish from the moment she woke up, Ferrari seems to be unexpectedly familiar with human inventions. Maybe half-wolves are more civilized than I thought. I'd always pictured them as wild beasts who ran around naked and hunted with their claws and teeth. Despite that, Ferrari has been clothed since the moment she showed up here, and she hasn't done anything particularly strange or unruly. If anything, she's like an ordinary human being who's lived in the brink of society for just a little bit too long. This is too cute. As I compare Mirari to the ordinary human being, my mind flashes back to the moment I found her. Cold, pale, and shivering, dressed in human clothing, seeking shelter in a cabin. Apart from her ears and tail, everything about her screams, human! While thinking back to our initial encounter, one more thought crosses my mind. Having found her dressed in wet, disheveled clothing, I made sure to remove Mary's clothes, then wash and dry them before dressing her once more. At that time, even though it was not my intention, I did get a good look at her naked body. Yep, just like a human, alright. Wait, what am I thinking about? Bad Blitz! Get your mind out of the gutter! Ow, I've actually slapped myself pretty hard. Just as I pull myself back into reality, Mary suddenly turns around to face me. Okay, all done. Huh? The dishes. I finished cleaning them. I unconsciously turned my head towards the sink. To my surprise, the sink, which was filled with plates and utensils I've been meaning to clean for days now, is empty. All of the items which needed washing had been cleaned and placed at the rack to dry. You cleaned everything? Of course. I couldn't just clean 1 or 2 bowls and call it a day's work. Well, I wouldn't have blamed you if you did. Really, you didn't need to do all of this. Don't be silly. I did this because I wanted to, not because I had to. Besides, if I'm going to be staying here, I need to make sure I earn my keep. Haha, okay then. As long as you're fine with it, I guess. Shuffling off with a bright smile on her face, Mary quickly disappears into the next room. The moment she does, her words dawn on me, and a look of confusion creeps onto my face. Wait, staying here? Earn my keep? Mary was just talking about the night she's already stayed, right? Or is she actually assuming that I'll let her stay another? I look out the window as I contemplate kicking Mary out. No matter how nice Mary is, it's against the rules for humans to associate with half-humans in any way. Even though the snowstorm has died down, it might not be over yet. And even if it is over, the snow underfoot is likely to have been dislodged and moved around by the storm, making it dangerous to walk on. If one adds to the blistering cold, not to mention Murari's near-death experience, it's clear that sending her out might not be a good idea. I can't kick her out. Not yet, at least. No matter how much I prefer to be alone, I'd be eaten away by guilt if I sent that nice young girl to her death. Besides, it's not like I can't accommodate one more person for a night or two, but I am curious about how half-humans like Mirari live. For now, just call this a sleepover, and then a couple of days, when Mirari is feeling better, we'll go our separate ways. Okay, I finished dusting, tidying up the storeroom, and washing your clothes. Please tell me, what would you like me to do next? I stare at Mirari in blank amazement as she announces her productivity with vigor. A short while ago, when Mirari asked if there was anything else she could do help out, I half-heartedly listed several chores which I had been putting off doing myself. To my surprise, Mirari seems to have completed all of the tasks I offered to her far more quickly than I would have. You're done already? Yep, I even managed to get the bloodstains out of your yellow shirts. Seriously? I've been trying to get those out for months. How are you good at this, Mirari? I don't think I've ever known a human being half as prompt and hardworking as you are. You're praising me too much. I'm really not anything special. Don't sell yourself short, Mirari. Not many people could walk straight into the home of another race and outdo them like this. That's only because I'm used to this kind of work. This is really nothing new to me. I raise an eyebrow in Mirari's odd response. You've done this stuff before? Inquire further. I would like to know myself. I guess cleaning clothes is a given since you've been wearing them from the moment I found you, but just how similar is half-wolf culture to that of humans? Are your homes just like ours? Do you wear the same, do the same chores that we do? That's a bit. I mean, some of us live in houses. Though most of us don't. Ah, so you're one of the few who do? That's lucky. Yes, that's because I. Jesus! Fuck! Oh, sweet Jesus! Princess! Rory freezes as she hears someone shout, seemingly frightened by the voice of the one calling out. Rather than pay her reaction any mind, however, I turn toward the door in irritation. Oh, come on! I chose this place because it's supposed to be away from civilization. How have I gotten 2 visitors in as many days? When I get my hands on an agent who sold me this place, I'll... Hello? Princess! Oh, how you doing? The moment I open the door, my body is thrown to the floor. I'm barreled over in a heartbeat before I can even lay eyes on the interloper. Ah, shit, what's the big deal, you little wolf girl? My eyes widen in amazement as I spot yet another girl with furry ears and a tail. I slowly raise to my feet, taking my eyes off of her only for a second, as I close and lock the door once more. Rory, is this girl a friend of... Princess! Eep! Rory cowers behind the couch as the new girl shouts at her. Maybe they aren't friends after all. Wait a minute, Princess? Curious about the girls' relationship, I decide to butt out for a minute and allow them to converse. Why did you follow me here? I should have made my intentions perfectly clear. Don't ask stupid questions. You're our princess, of course. Someone is going to come looking for you. But it was a blizzard out there. You could have been killed. Same goes for you, princess. How could I not be worried when you suddenly went out in the middle of that storm? I didn't ask you to worry about me. I could take care of myself, you know. Oh yeah, I could totally see that by the fact that you're seeking refuge with a human. How unsightly, our princess boarding with some low-life human. Blitz is not a low-life. Thank you, Murray. He took me in, and when I was cold and hungry, he gave me food and shelter, and none of that would have been necessary if you just stay with the pack. Whatever, this guy's done for. The fact that the matter is that this situation is a result of your own selfishness. I can't talk today. You can't just suddenly declare that you're leaving, princess. It doesn't work like that. I know that. Ah, shit. Well, you guys, I'm going to have to end this episode here. I'm only going to do these in 30 minutes. I'm not going to do like Changeling Tale and do these an hour apiece. But I'm probably going to do at least one more of these. And I'm going to do it like right now so that way I can keep the story going. And I can keep the voices fresh. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. Hopefully you guys are getting a kick out of this. Again, I won't be able to gauge the reactions until on the second, for this one, for the second video, because I'm going to do it right here in a second. So all that being said, you guys, hopefully you guys are enjoying. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. It's something different. It's something really interesting. And so far, I'm actually going to try and stick with the voices that I'm coming up with. If I lose them, or if I'm pronouncing their names wrong, I apologize. But it's just, I don't speak a lot of these weird languages that some of these games that I play. So, all that being said, you guys, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video, and peace out. Bye, guys.